Hello, my beautiful world. I want to tell you about Tuesday that had no business going well. I was sharing earlier that I'm in the middle of the move. I'm actually moving, really moving this week. The boxes were everywhere. And my parents were visiting town as well. My granddaughter running circles through the one room in the house that did not have anything stacked in it yet. My phone wouldn't stop. Had a vendor question, client inquiries, and something about the movers, someone needing a decision that I didn't have the bandwidth to make. And in the middle of all of it, something in me stood straight up and said, put on music. I didn't have, you should probably move today thought, or it would be good for you to dance thought. Nothing like that. Nothing negotiated, nothing reasoned. It's just my body said yes, the way it says yes to almost nothing else. Loud, immediate, no meeting required. So I turned on music in the middle of the boxes and I danced. I didn't finish packing that hour. I didn't return the call right away. And I have zero regret about either of those things, which is itself worth noticing because I don't usually feel that settled about decision this fast. Sometimes I do, but not always. So here's the part I actually want to talk to you about. A few days later, at a weightlifting session on the calendar, and it just didn't happen. I didn't move it. I didn't move the calendar date. I didn't fight it. It was not skipped in the dramatic way where I stood at the door arguing with myself. I just noticed it was gone the way you notice a train already left the station after the fact. So it was no memory of deciding catch it or not catch it. One signal I was the loudest yes I felt all summer. And the other was just quiet. And I've spent the last few days sitting with the fact that those are not the same thing. So I want to talk about signals, this signals that we get. Specifically, I want to talk about the difference between a loud yes. When we get this loud yes, we know for sure it's a yes. And we really, really want to do it with our whole being, with our whole body. And this quiet no. Because I think most of us have been taught to treat all resistance as the same, but sometimes it's not. The dance was a loud yes, full body, immediate yes. No debate stage, no committee, just no pros, no cons. It's just the kind of yes that just doesn't need defending. It doesn't need permission also. There was something was truly, it's your signature, the movement, the expression, the thing that unmistakably, sovereignly you. And it doesn't ask you to convince yourself, it just moves you. But the weightlifting session was something else though. And here's what I want to be precise about, because it would be easy to call it the same kind of thing. And it wasn't a mask that I talked about in episode 3 in this series. There was no I am too busy or an hour is too long, right? So there is no mask. There was no excuse. There was no story dressed up to sound reasonable. A mask at least gives you something to catch on, to hold on to, a reason to hold on to, an excuse to hold on to. But this gave me nothing. It was just a little bit harder than a mask in a way, because mask announces itself the moment you go looking for it and gives you an excuse, and we hold on to that excuse. But quiet doesn't announce anything. It just kind of sits there. And your mind, it cannot tolerate an open question for very long. So usually it's either one, I'm failed, I'm inconsistent, this proves I'm not really committed, that kind of story. Or the story, it's fine, it doesn't matter, I'll catch it next week. Both of those are stories we tell ourselves. And I think most of us reach for one of those pretty fast that we never actually get to look what the silence or where the silence is. And this is where I wanted to bring this piece, because it's not a fitness observation, it's an instrument I use. And this instrument I actually didn't have language for until this week. So when a client goes quiet about something, a decision, a launch, a relationship, we might assume that it's a quiet meant it's just quiet resistance. The same way I assumed my own quiet meant failure. But quiet is not always a no. Sometimes it's just not yet. Sometimes it's a signal that hasn't finished arriving. So, and that is a somatic awareness. That is a signal from the body functioning as leadership intelligence. And so everyone can do that accurately, not reading the quiet ones. I want to name it out loud so you can hold me to it, because I'm not going to tell you what my miss session means, right? Because I'm open. I missed that session, which I was committed to. It was part of my commitment, but of course, in the middle of everything that's happening, it was interesting for me to observe, for myself to observe where I said yes to or where I said no to, and how loud was that yes and how quiet was the no. And in this series over the summer, this is episode 5, and we're almost done. Next episode will be the last episode in this specific series of Choreographing Strength, which we have been building episode by episode. Episode 1, we found the gap between knowing and choosing to do. In episode 2, we found the bridge that lets the hard things speak your language. We were looking for what is that language for us so we can hold on to that. Episode 3 was we spoke about the mask that sometimes comes up as a different kind of story that we hold on to. And episode 4, we chose rhythm over motivation. And this episode 5, is asking a question, and it might be a harder one, actually, a harder question than before, which is, can you tell the difference between a real no and a signal that just still kind of forming? So it's a quieter one. So this week, I have done nothing dramatic to report to you. The only thing that I've noticed was that very loud yes, that very clear yes I had was my body. My body was telling me, was giving me that clear yes. And I haven't rescheduled in my head, the session. I haven't rescheduled it. But the dance session was not part of the plan. And it just happened. I just happened to do it because I wanted to do it. It's not tracked anywhere. And if I'm honest, some part of me, I wasn't planning on it. It just happened. So my move is still happening in the background. I have boxes everywhere. And like I said earlier, we are moving this week. And I'm not going to make this episode about that. I will be talking in the next episode. I'll be sharing with you the full picture of what I've learned during this series for myself. This is a later conversation waiting to be happen, and we'll talk about that. I just want to name this as a part of the season for me. So I'm not chasing a new number this week. I'm just noticing signals that's my body's giving me, which feels like the right thing to be doing in this section before we conclude this series. And so I want to invite you to ask yourself this question: where is your loud yes? Where is your loud yes? Have you experienced, or have you noticed where you really know and know and know? You have this deep knowing that you know and you know and you know. Where is that thing for you that doesn't require that pep talk? The thing you have never had to talk yourself into, because your whole body knows before your mind finishes the sentence. I want us to name it. I want you to name it for yourself. And you probably already know what it is. And that's information about you. You probably know what it is. You just may not have noticed that it never needs convincing, right? Because you knew it's there. You maybe never noticed that it's such a strong yes that it doesn't need convincing. And then on the other hand, I want to ask or to notice, where is your quiet one? Not the loud one, not the loud no, but the one that shows up as a fight or an excuse, but the quiet one, the woman who says yes to every board meeting but goes quiet about the doctor's appointment, the woman who hides for her business without blinking but goes quiet about the conversation with her mother, the woman who shows up loud for everyone else's deadlines and goes quiet about the one commitment that was just for her. I want us to resist the urge to explain the quiet one this week. Don't decide it means you're failing. Don't decide it means it doesn't matter. Just name it and just recognize it. Recognize it that it's quiet and let it stay. Let it stay. So what's loud in you and what's quiet in you? And let both be true at the same time. Let's experiment with that. Let's be curious about that both of them can be true at the same time. That both loud yes and that quiet no. So wherever you are right now, take one full breath with me. And as you exhale, notice two places. First, is there anywhere in your body right now that feels like an unmistakable yes? Something that doesn't need convincing. Just notice it's there. And without moving away from that, notice if there is somewhere in your body, somewhere else quieter, harder to locate. That is not a no exactly. It's still, and it's just waiting. And let's just stay curious about each one of these, not trying to resolve either one, not trying to rank them, just letting our body hold both of them at the same time. And I will see you in our final episode 6. Thank you.